for this 10-day lecture series, and today we are in the day 6. So, in 10-day lecture series on research scope in emerging areas of civil engineering, organized by Aditya Learning Academy in association with the Department of Civil Engineering, Aditya University. So, today we are in the day 6 and we are going to focus about AI for the concrete technology. So, myself, Dr. K.K. Yashwant, I am currently working as assistant professor in the Department of Civil Engineering, Aditya University. I have made nearly 15 research articles, out of which 13 belongs to ACI and 2 or 3 belongs to Scopus index journals. So my research area of interest is almost like AI for the concrete technology, and apart from that, I have worked under some few special concretes as well. So first thing I like to clarify here is that today our topic is AI for concrete technology. The term concrete technology I have used as a platform to explain the AI integration. That means I'm not focusing on the concrete technology completely. In another case, if you are understanding the AI integration, the same concept you can use for all of the fields like science and engineering, all those things. So concrete technology I'm taking as a tool or taking as a bridge to explain about the AI integration. So once if you understand the AI integration, that you can apply in the various fields like transportation engineering, environmental engineering, water resource engineering, and other branches of science as well. So concrete technology is a basic fundamental bridge to explain about the AI integration. Second thing I like to explain here is that there is no level of research in this particular lecture series. For example, it is not belong to only for the BTech students or for MTech students or for PhD students and all. So it is belonging to all levels of the research. For example, like BTech students, they can do their final year projects, and MTech students they can do their final year projects, and those who are working in the PhD they can do as one of the parts in their research project, and those faculties who are working in other organizations they can also undergo the research. So it is not for a small scope or larger scope. Based upon their application, it may differs. So now coming to the concrete technology. So let us start with the introduction about the concrete material. Then we can go for the AI. So the first thing concrete technology is, it's a fundamental material in construction. So as we all know that for reinforced concrete structures, two fundamental materials are available. One is the steel reinforcement, another one is the concrete material. So while designing the reinforced concrete structures, there is no need to design the reinforcing steel. Just we are about to specify the grade of the steel like Fe 415 or Fe 500 like that. But in terms of concrete, we have to design the material and in such a way that you should get the proper characteristic compressive strength of the concrete. For example, if I want M20 or M25 grade of concrete, definitely I should reach the 25 Newton per mm square for 28 days of curing. So this is the important criteria as far as the material concrete is concerned. So here traditional concrete production and concrete construction process, it will face so much of challenges. For example, efficiency, quality control, and stability, sustainability. So whatever the problems involved, like complex problems involved in the concrete technology, wherever applicable, wherever possible, we can apply the artificial intelligence techniques. Now, if you see this, these are the basic challenges during the concrete production. Concrete production, in the sense, it is like producing the concrete before the mixed design process, as well as during the application of the concrete as well. So basically, we are having three categories. One is the quality control. So first thing is the quality control. Second one is efficiency and automation. Third one is sustainability. So if you see the first one, quality control, it actually means that concrete is a compost of so many materials like cement, fine aggregate, and coarse aggregate. So we have to mix that in a proper mix proportion to achieve the required compressive strength of the concrete. For example, for M20 or M25 grade of concrete, there is some nominal mix as suggested by codal provisions like IS 10262. But if I want to go for some high strength concrete like M60 or M80 or even M100 also, we can't do the mix design properly. So in that case, we have to go for the trial mixes. And the most important thing here is that, so if I want to design for a M60 grade of concrete, for example, um, during the trial mixes, if I'm mixing some mineral admixtures or chemical admixtures like that, if I'm getting 61, it's fine. If I'm getting 65, it's also fine. If I'm getting 70 or 80, it's also fine. But if I'm getting the value 59.5, it's not at all considerable. So that is the most important sensitive thing in the field of concrete production. So if I am designing the compressive strength of the concrete as per the characteristic compressive strength, I should reach at least that value of 60 Newton per mm square. Even zero point 0.5 or 1 Newton per mm square is not at all considerable. So concrete mix design is a major important thing here. And similarly, the second one, efficiency and automation. So traditional concrete production methods often involve labor intensive tasks and manual processes. So that means laborers, they are going to mix the concrete and they are going to place the concrete as well. So during the manual operations, definitely some manual errors will be there, like they can't place the concrete properly, or they can't mix the concrete properly. It may lead to lots of voids will be there. So in that case, we have to avoid such things and we have to go for the automation process. So automation process in the sense, now the most important trending thing is the 3D printable concrete. So 3D printable machines are there. So once the concrete is we are obtained from ready mix concrete, or either we are mixing through some machines. So we just need to feed the concrete in the 3D mixing 3D printing machine, so that the printer will place the concrete automatically. So the in such a case we can eliminate the manual errors. And the most important thing coming to concrete production is sustainability as well as eco-friendliness. So when we see the concrete, it is composed of cement, fine aggregate as well as the coarse aggregate. If you check the cement, during the manufacturing process of cement, we may need to burn the raw materials at very high temperature of around 1800 degrees centigrade or 1900 degrees centigrade. So during this production, there may be the large quantity of greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide will be eliminated. So this is highly against the eco-friendliness. So in that case, so many researchers, they try to reduce the content of the cement, or otherwise they are completely eliminating the cement like geopolymer concrete. In the other case, if you are considering the sustainability issues, if you are taking the fine aggregate as well as the coarse aggregate, like normally we are using the natural stones as well as the natural river sand. At this point of time, we are getting the natural river sand by exploring all the things from the natural rivers. But what happens if after 5 years or 10 years? So there may be definitely a lack of the natural river sand as well as the natural stones. So if you see the natural stones, so many mountains are diminished nowadays in and around the cities of so many cities in India. So if this happens means after 5 years or 10 years, definitely there will not be any natural stones will be available. Other case, definitely we have to go for some other sustainable concerns. So as far as the concrete production is concerned, there is definitely an issue of quality control. There is definitely an issue of efficiency and automation as well as the sustainability. Now, if you are considering the complex issues of this concrete, what are the things we can overcome with the help of artificial intelligence? For example, if you can see here, three parameters that definitely we can go for the strength production. So one is the strength prediction, that we can use the AI tools. Durability prediction, that also similar to the first one, that also we can use the AI tools. So that what will happen is it give the benefit to the cost and time. For example, consider the first one. As I said earlier, for high-rise buildings or for some special structures, we may have to go for some important concrete as special concrete. For example, high strength concrete is required, high performance concrete is required. So for that, we don't have the nominal mixed design procedure like standard guidelines of IS 10262. So at that time, we have to go for some trial mixes, and we may have to go for some additional materials like super plasticizers or chemical admixtures like that. So in that case, as a practicing engineer, so those who are available in the field or something, so they can't predict how much compressive strength of the concrete will be arised. Or in other case, if you want to achieve the M100 grade of concrete, I'm not sure about what are the materials I should mix, like how much quantity I should go, or how much fine aggregate I should go. So if I mix all together, will I get the proper workability or not? So if I'm not getting the proper workability, so I should go for some other super processors. So all these things are very complicated in case of practicing engineers. So that they may have to go for ready mix concrete. Sometimes if some extraordinary situations like we may have to go for repair and retrofitting, even ready mix concrete also they can't give the proper solution for that. So at that time we may have to develop some concrete using some chemical or mineral admixtures, and we may have to involve some super plasticizer to achieve the workability. So when I am doing all those things, Proper mix proportion I can't identify that much easily, so I have to go for some initial trial mixes. Then I have to check the properties of the concrete, like mechanical properties, durability properties as well. So definitely for the first trial mix I can't get the answer, then I need to go for the second trial mix. Definitely that also it's not possible to get the answer. So probably I may need to go for nearly 10 to 15 trials to get the proper compressive strength, at least to get the scenario of that proper compressive strength. So in that case, what will happen? This much trials I am going, so this much materials I am wasting, this much time also I am wasting. What if AI intelligence is doing such a thing to me? See here. So first thing is a traditional method. We have to go for some lab tests and samples. So now obviously we have to go for some destructive methods. And if you see the AI driven method, 22 models that analyze the real time data from the sensors and providing the accurate strength. So now AI models will have the capacity to analyze this with the help of sensors. They can analyze the property of the concrete and they can predict the accurate strength. Similarly, in case of durability production also, AI algorithms nowadays they are developing to access the durability properties of the concrete. That may be the based upon the past experience as well, or based upon the real time sensors they can use. In both the cases, the AI tools will have the capability to test the durability and strength parameters of the concrete. If the AI is testing the strength and durability parameter of the concrete, we may not require so many materials for the trial purpose. So it is going to be useful in terms of cost and as well as the time. Now coming to the introduction for the artificial intelligence. So what is artificial intelligence? See, in this lecture, I'm not going to explain anything related to CSE or IT something. As a civil engineers, as a non-circuit branch, whether artificial intelligence is useful to me or not, or how can I approach artificial intelligence? That is the concept here. See, artificial intelligence means it is composed of basically four categories. Machine learning is one part, natural language processing is one part, computer vision is one part, and robotics is one part. See the machine learning. Machine learning enables the machines to learn and make the predictions from the data. Imagine a mechanical engineer is designing a machine, for example, refrigerators or AC. The purpose of that machine is to cool the area, cool the refrigerator or cool the area which is fixed in the AC. Now, if I'm making a simulation model using some softwares, what it has to do is it has to work like what's happening in the real life machine. So I'm going to gather the what all the parts available in the particular machine. I'm going to simulate it through the computer programs, and I will develop those models in the computer itself. So I'm going to check whether the model is working or not through some simulation techniques. So if this happens means, as I said earlier, like concrete production, we may not have to go for the trial mixes, and we don't need to waste the materials and cost in that. So machine learning is something like we are going to create some artificial machines that is particularly adapted for some other purpose. Similarly, the second one, natural language processing. That means it allows the computers to understand and generate the human language. Suppose I am keeping one AI model, I am going to talk in my native language, not English or something. So through my language, the AI models will recognize the voice and it convert to the electrical signals. That signals will be converted to the text. That text should be recognized by the AI model. That means whatever the language I am talking, it has to be recognized properly and it has to give the answer. That means AI tools can recognize such languages. This will happen by inputting so many languages to the computer system or other AI models, so that it tries to recognize automatically. Similarly, computer vision is one of the categories to interpret the visual information. As we all know already that robotics is the invention of the artificial human, we can say. In that, robotics is not complete artificial intelligence. We can integrate the AI tools to the robotics to make it more efficient further. So if you see this slide particularly, what is artificial intelligence? Artificial intelligence means something happening naturally that we can convert into artificial. For example, if you see three things here, first thing I'd like to focus on this artificial neural networks. Neural networks is something we know that it is available in our human body. That means human body is connected with a million number of neurons from the brain to other parts of the body. So these neurons, it is connected from the brain to other part of the body. For example, if I am seeing something, my eyes will give the signals to the brain through the neurons. The brain will recognize that thing. If necessary, it will again give the output to the same eye. For example, if I am seeing one object for the first time, it will give the inputs to the brain through the neurons, and next time if I am seeing the same object, the brain will again give me the output. Okay, this is the object that I have seen last week, like that. Similarly, ears, nose, and mouth, these are the like output devices. So whatever we are feeding inside through all those things, the through neurons it will reach the brain. Brain will store all the data, and again whenever it is required, it will give. Now this concept of neural network connection, if I am converting it to AI model, that is called as artificial neural networks. So artificial neural network is a kind of AI tool that is work under the principle of this neural networks, like it is like an artificial brain. So what are the things required for us, we can use with the help of this ANN tool. Similarly, see the second one, it is like the birds flying in the sky. When we normally see this thing, birds will not fly randomly. Of course, it will take a particular direction. It will be like one or two birds will be there at the center, and another will follow the same path. So this is something happening naturally. That thing we can convert into the artificial tool, that is called as particle swarm optimization. That means this center portion is considered as an optimized portion, and another these backside birds and all following the same thing. So that means they try to follow the path of this first one, that's called as an optimized thing. Optimized thing means it is following the same similar manner without any errors, that is called as optimization. And similarly, this also the similar concept, the third one, ant colony optimization. That means similar to the birds, ants also will follow the same route. It is like following the route of the previous ants. So it is like an optimized thing. Optimized thing means it is going in a particular good manner. So this can be applied to so many practical applications as well. So simply I am coming to say here is that artificial intelligence is nothing but something naturally we are going to convert into artificial models through some softwares or through some machines, like that. So in this case, these are the different popular AI tools available as of now, because it is a ever-ending process. So many models will be there, so many things will be developed. In that case, for particular applications, we may choose the different AI tools. The first one is linear regression. Second one is decision trees, random forest. So these are the things. If I am talking, it will get more complicated. See, as I said earlier, this is the neural networks that we saw already. Particle swarm optimization is like birds going in an optimized way. Similarly, artificial neural networks, both are similar. Support vector machine is nothing but it's a kind of machine. If I'm having 100 data or 200 data, so support vector machine will try to divide that 100 data into 2 or 3 categories. So because of this division, it can able to predict the values also. That's one kind of thing. We will see 3 important popular tools and their algorithms one by one. That is particularly applicable for the concrete technology and the predictions as well. So the basic popular AI tools I can categorize into 2 categories. One is supervised learning. So one is the supervised learning, another one is unsupervised learning. Supervised learning means it will develop the AI models and it can check the error or mistakes by itself. So that's called as a supervised learning. Unsupervised learning means it can make the predictions or it can solve the problems, but it can't test it by itself. That's called as unsupervised learning. So when compared to unsupervised, supervised learning will have the definitely more accuracies there. So upon further classification, we may classify it into classification type. Another one is regression type. So here similarly clustering type and optimization type. See, in this classification means these AI models have the capability to classify the different values based upon the particular criteria. And regression is nothing but it is like if I am having the proper graph sheet like this, whether how many data are within this regression line. So if our data is like this means this much error will be there, and similarly one more data is like this much error will be there. So what are the points coming in this line is called as a correct line. So that's kind of analysis, nothing but regression analysis. And the clustering, obviously we know that if we are having 100 data in that, we can cluster these data belong to one group, and these data will belong to another group. So now AI model, what will it do? it will read all the data like 100 data or 200 or even 1000, 2000 also. So based upon the reading training, what are the things it is getting, it can able to classify the things properly. So this is called the clustering. Clustering and classification are almost similar, but the only difference is supervision and unsupervision. And the last thing is optimization. Optimization means, as I said earlier, any process that is going in a formal way, in a correct way, that is called as optimization. So through this optimization technique, we can go for predictions as well. So as I said earlier, I am going to deal majorly on three AI tools. One is artificial neural networks, another one is gene expression programming, and the third one is um, random forest regression. See, already I explained here. This is the artificial neural networks. So it is based upon the human brain. So human brain is connected with so many neurons through the eyes, nose, ears, and hands and legs also. So such type of connections will be there in the artificial neural networks also. So the main important thing is it can be used for the image processing, language processing, predictive modeling as well. And the most important thing is it can handle the complex data very easily. This is a very important thing in the research point of view. That means if I use some other things like support vector machine or something, it will not give that much accuracy because of that algorithm nature. But artificial neural networks are very versatile, so that it can handle the complex problems very easily. So this is the basic nature of the artificial neural networks. So artificial neural network means we will have so many layers like this. So first thing is the output layer. So it is going to give the output or it's going to predict the output. So first thing is the input layer. So in between this input and output layer, we can form the so many hidden neurons. So this artificial neural networks can predict the output based upon the what all the inputs we are giving. For example, if I am going to predict the traffic in the particular area, so we can see that Google Maps. So if I am going to navigate to some point of a place, it will give me the distance like 5 kilometers or 10 kilometers, but it will mention that when I am crossing this particular place to particular place, there will be heavy traffic. I think you can see that red mark in that or yellow mark in that like that. So blue mark means there is no traffic, yellow mark means little traffic is there, and red mark means heavy traffic. So how it is predicting in that means we have to integrate such artificial neural networks. See, if I want to predict a particular traffic, if I want to predict the traffic in a particular location, I may take the inputs of the time, the day of the week, the weather, the type of road, geometry of the road, vehicles. For example, if I take the time, normally in cities, the traffic will be more around 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. But at the same time, traffic will not be there around 12 or 1 like that. So because of the peak hour, that traffic will be changing. So I'm relating the time with the traffic now. Similarly, day of the week. If it is Monday, the traffic will be more obviously, but at the same time, if it is Saturday or Sunday, that much traffic will not be there. So day is also influencing the traffic. Similarly, weather conditions. If it is raining or something, no one will go around such places. If it is somewhat better weather means obviously more number of vehicles will be there. And similarly, the type of road. Type of road in the sense it is like a width of the road. I can say if the width of the road is somewhat bigger means obviously more number of vehicles can cross at a particular time. At the same time, narrow roads means vehicles will struggle to cross. So at that time, whether a narrow road or a wider road, that's also one of the part for the traffic. The geometry of the road in the sense it's like a super elevation. This also obviously going to affect the traffic, and also the number of vehicles from the past in the sense what about the yesterday or what about the last month or what about the last year, that also we can consider as one of the input for the traffic. So if I want to predict the traffic, this much influences I should take. So if I consider all those things, I can predict the traffic. Likewise, if I want to predict something in any of the fields, I should understand what are the input devices. So this is the very important concept. By understanding the concept, we can go for the concrete prediction. See now here, if I am giving the database like this, so past data means I can give for last 1 month or 1 year also. So 1 year means 365 data will come. So if I give all those data, data as input, so through the hidden neurons, it will do some automatic calculations, and finally it will predict the traffic. For example, if I am giving the time as 9 a.m. If I'm giving the week as Monday, similarly the road is very narrow road. Geometry is it's having the super elevation as well, and the number of vehicles is also more. So if I'm giving the input like this means obviously traffic will be more. Similarly, if I'm giving the time as 12 a.m., day is Sunday. Likewise, if I'm giving the output means the traffic will be less. So based upon the input, obviously the traffic will be there. All those things will be calculated under this center part that is called as hidden neurons. See here, two more important thing is there. One is the weight, another one is bias. So based upon the input and output, it will create a mathematical equation like this. So this is nothing but a mathematical model. Of course, all AI models are mathematical models. So Y is the output, X is the input. In between all those things, it will vary the weight and bias based upon the training data whatever we are giving. So about this we'll see further. So random forest regression is also one of the interesting AI tools. As we all know that forest will consist of a large number of trees. So if I am considering 100 number of trees are there, so tree will contain one stem, root, and several branches will be there. So based upon the inputs given by the root and stem, it will deviate the path of the leaf. So what will happen is at the end it will give one sort of prediction. So one tree will give one prediction. Similarly, second tree will give another prediction. Similarly, third tree will give another prediction. Now, if I am taking the majority of all those trees, that is called as a random forest regression. If you can see the next slide, you can easily understand. See, if I am giving the some data of fruits, for example, I am going to predict the perfect fruit. So I am considering 3 trees here. So based upon the data given in the fruits, it will it will try to predict the correct fruit here. Obviously, each tree will try to get the correct answer only, but sometimes it may deviate from the correct answer. For example, if you see the tree 1, so it is starting from the root, it is going toward the stem, and it is finally end up with this leaf. This leaf represents the apple. Similarly, it is going from the root, again the same stem, but it is going at the different leaf, different branch of the leaf. But here also it is indicating it as an apple only. But here in this case, after the root and stem, it is completely changing the branch here. But at the end, it is predicting it as a banana. So my answer is obviously apple only. Two of the trees are giving me the correct answer, and the third one is not giving me the correct answer. So I'm taking the majority as apple. So this is the final class. So random forest regression means it consists of so many trees. Trees will have some stems and roots and the leaves. So each tree will give some prediction, and I'm going to take the majority of all the trees. That's called as random forest regression. Similarly, gene expression programming. Gene means obviously we know that human body or what all the human beings are made up of genes, chromosomes like that. So the same concept I'm going to apply it here. See here, the big circle here indicates the individual. Individual means any human body or animal, whatever you can take. So in this human body, there will be so many chromosomes will be available. Chromosomes may be 22 or 23, some medical thing I don't know. So human individual is made up of chromosomes. Chromosomes will have the genes inside, and genes inside will have the symbols. So the same thing I'm going to apply as artificial intelligence model. That means I'm in a subset of data like individual, there may be so many genes will be there. Under each gene, for individual, so many chromosomes will be there. For each chromosome, genes will be there, and for each gene, symbols will be there. So if you see the particular gene here, so for example, I'm taking this gene and zooming it like this. So this is the structure of a gene. So gene means it consists of so many symbols like this. So for a point of view, I'm going to use the word symbol, but medical point of view, some other things will come. But here, see here, if I'm considering a gene, it will consist of so many symbols like this, and they are all are interconnected. Now this particular gene can be converted to the mathematical equation like this. So the concept here is that I need to start from top, and I need to go from left to right. So for example, the first thing is division. So I'm going to keep some division like this. So second thing I'm going to do the plus or minus symbol. So plus or minus symbol will come at the top because it is a branch of that. So plus or minus symbol, two things are coming. So minus b will come on the left hand side. and the right hand side all those things are coming. So all those things will come here as a right hand side. Similarly, if you see the right hand side, below this thing, these two things will come. So 2 into a will come. So 2 into a will come as a bottom here. So now this is the mathematical equation that is representing the genes with the chromosomes and the symbols. See how this is transforming like this. So if I am generating some mathematical equation like this, I can go for complex problems like prediction and all. Now the most important application for artificial intelligence for concrete technology is prediction of the compressive strength of the concrete. So I am going to predict the compressive strength of the concrete with some proper materials like cement, fine aggregate, coarse aggregate, and if I am giving in a proper proportion or if I am giving in a proper content, what is the compressive strength I am going to check. So if I want to check like this, I have to follow the 5 steps like this. So first thing, I need to identify the inputs as well as the outputs. For example, here output is the compressive strength because I am going to predict the compressive strength here. Now if I want to predict the output here, what are the inputs here means, see the output is the compressive strength. So what are the major things that can influence the compressive strength I can consider as the inputs. So what are the things it influence for a normal concrete means, cement content will increase, will influence the compressive strength. Fine aggregate content will do it, and coarse aggregate content will do it, and water content will do it. So if I change the cement content, obviously compressive strength will change. If I change the fine aggregate content, compressive strength will change. Similarly, these are the 4 factors. If I change it, definitely the compressive strength is going to change. Obviously, if I change the method of pumping or if I change the method of mixing also, it is going to change, but we can't select such kind of secondary data in it. So what are the things that is very important only we can consider as the inputs. So we have to define the inputs and outputs for any kind of prediction. So after designing this inputs and outputs, we have to go for the data collection. Data collection means what are the data is past, it is available through literatures or various other government sources or through some our own practical experiments. Like that we have to collect so many data. So this data will be useful for training those models. And after collecting the data in the sense, if I am predicting the compressive strength of concrete, I need to collect nearly 300-400 various journals or various literatures like that. So more number of database, more will be the accuracy of the prediction. So data collection should be more for both training as well as the validation. So after collecting the data, I need to segregate the data into two sections. One is the training data, another one is validation data. So for example, if I am collecting 500 data sets for to predict the concrete, I need to segregate 400 data for the training and 100 data for the validation. Validation in the sense I'm going to check whether the model is working properly or not. So among the 500 data, if I'm giving the 400 data for training the models, so the model will train accordingly based upon the data available, and the another 100 data I'm going to check for the model, because 100 data also I know the results of the compressive strength. So I'm going to check whether the compressive strength values will come properly or not. So once the data has been collected and splitted, I need to go for the model development. Model development means I need to select which model I can go, whether the ANN model or a support vector machine model or random forest regression model. So based upon the past experience, we can select the best one. And if I am considering the ANN model, there may be so many parameters are there. So which type of ANN I should select, or which type of training function I am going to give, how many iterations is going to start, all those things I need to develop. So these things will come further. And at the last, we have to go for the assessment of the predicted versus actual data. So as I said, we are having training as well as the validation data. So that 100 data is for validation. I'm going to give the 100 inputs here, and I'm going to get the outputs from the model. So I'm getting the outputs from the model, and at the same time I'm having the actual outputs. So I'm going to check whether the model is going to perform properly or not. That is the final step here. So these are the generalized methodology. For concrete prediction, it's like a somewhat less complex thing. For example, if I'm going to predict some important things like going to predict the temperature, or I'm going to predict the stock market issues like that. So at that time, methodology is something different, because we have to understand the problem statement first. That's the important thing. In case of concrete prediction, there is no problem statement, because the outputs will be the compressive strength and inputs will be the mixed design factors. But if I want to predict the temperature, so many things will be coming, and in that so many things, I don't know which is the most significant one, and I don't know which is the most least one also. So we have to understand the problem first, and accordingly we have to go for the models. We have to get the data. All those things are similar. We have to prepare the data. We have to segregate the data. We have to select the model, train and validate the model. All those things are similar. The only thing is we have to understand the problem statement properly, and we have to do the prediction accordingly. So just we'll see some small glance about the data collection. I mean, we are having 5 different steps. We'll see the steps one by one. So the first step is the data collection. So we need to collect the data. For example, we should first specify the output, we should specify the input, and we have to get the data like a primary data or secondary data. Primary data is more important data. Secondary data is somewhat less important. So the secondary data we can collect from the existing database or existing research papers. But the primary data, very important data, we have to go for experiments. So we have to do the experiments with our own material, and we have to get the value, and accordingly we have to prepare the data set. So after that we have to perform a data collection plan, and obviously we are going to collect the data and verify and validate the data. So data collection is nothing but we have to collect the data based upon the inputs and outputs from various sources, and that source should be primary or secondary. Primary in the sense we have to conduct the experiments directly, and secondary means we can collect the data from the various database. So once if you have collected the data like this, it will be visible like a Excel sheet like this. So we'll be having the output on one side, we'll be having the input on the other side. So input means what are the inputs we have taken, that will come at the top, and what are the outputs we are considering, that will come here. And these are the data we are going to collect from various sources, like through some experiments or through some literature. So our data collection will be like this. It will have input and output, and different inputs, different outputs will be there. So once we are collecting the data, as I said earlier, we have to segregate the data. One part of the data for training, and majority part of the data for the training only, and the second part of the data is for validation. So usually 70% and 30% will be given for the training and validation. In some cases 80 and 20 also we can use. So after collecting all the data and segregating the data, we have to select which is the best one, because for our complex problem ANN we can take, for our simple problem SVM we can take. It is not like that actually. So based upon the proper application, so if I am going to apply something in a machine learning or machine development, I can go for ANN. If I am predicting some numerical values, definitely ANN will help for me. So such things we have to develop based upon the past researchers experience. So it is very important to select the ANN. And for example, if I am going to predict the compressive strength of concrete, as per the literature things, ANN is the very best thing. And of course SVM and RSM also can do such things. So after selecting the particular model, like if I am going to select the ANN, then I need to develop the models based upon the parameters. As I said earlier, ANN is not a single model. We can modify the model based upon the parameters available. For example, if the type of model is feed forward back propagation, so this is one type of model. Similarly, back propagation is one type of model. Feed forwarding is another type of model. Likewise, nearly 10 to 15 models are available for ANN. So we have to select the particular type of model based upon the past research experience. So like that we have to select the ANN model, then which training function or which algorithm is going to give me the best answer, like that we have to choose. And similarly what type of analysis I'm going to use, whether I can check the accuracy in terms of percentage, or I can check the accuracy in terms of errors, like that. For example, if I'm predicting value as 60 compressive strength, but my actual compressive strength is 58, so I'm going to analyze like 2 is the error of mean. So for compressive strength it is better to have some analysis like errors than the percentages. So such kind of things we have to select based upon the problem, based upon the inputs and outputs. Similarly, we have to select the number of hidden layers, number of hidden neurons in the each hidden layer. For example, this is the input, this is the hidden layer, this is the output, and here how many neurons I am selecting. So all these things will definitely influence the development of the predictive model. So after identifying all those things, after identifying the parameters of the ANN, similarly for if I want to take some support vector machine, means what type of things I can take. See here, support vector machine is a thing I already told that if I am having the 100 set of data, it will create a boundary so that it can divide into two different segments. So these belong to one property of the data, and this belong to another property of the data. See here in this case, it is a straight line that divided into two. But in all the cases it is not possible. See here, coming to the second stage. So the circles are one category of data, squares are another category of data, but it is randomly distributed like this. So in that case I can go for a straight line because it is not possible. So they are going for the parabolic differentiation. So this parabola now differentiate perfectly between the circle and the square. Similarly, in this case, this is called as a curvilinear motion. So it is not a straight line, but it's a non-linear line that can divide into two segments. So these are the three different type of the SVM models. So based upon our requirement, we have to select the particular model. So similarly, if I'm going for the gene expression programming, I should go for how many chromosomes I required, how many head size is required, how many genes are required. So these are the things we have to go for trial and error method. So we can't say 30 will give the correct answer, we can't say 10 will give the correct answer. So we have to go for some trials, maybe 35 will give the correct answer. So like that we have to go for some trials and we have to develop the models. So after selecting the parameters for the model, we have to go for training the model. So as I said, I am having the 500 data set, 400 for the training and 100 for the validation. So 100 data set I am going to feed into the model. So it is going to start training itself. Start training in itself, it is going to trying to develop a mathematical equation between the outputs and the inputs. See here, it is showing the epoch as 115. Epoch means number of iterations it is running. So I'm getting that for example here 115th turn I'm getting the best answer. So far 114 turns I'm not getting the best answer, 115 I'm getting the best answer. That means error is very much less. And if I'm going for the 10,000, I have done for 10,000 runs here in this example. So even if I go for 10,000 runs, only the 115th run will give me the perfect answer. So this is the training process. So similarly, we can check with the help of the regression analysis also. See here, no need to complicate all those things. Just we can directly see here. So R is 0.92. That means 92% accuracy in developing the training the model. So we can analyze like this. So similarly, if we are trying the SVM models, means the training state will look like this. So here the blue dots indicate the original values and yellow dots indicate the predicted values. See how much close it is there, means it is like a good prediction, and if it is varying means it is the least prediction. So as per this prediction analysis I am getting 92% accuracy. Now in this previous step I have developed some ANN or SVL model. I have given the training data set, so it is giving me the 92% accuracy. Now I am going to do for the validation. Validation means 100 data set. So now totally I have collected 500. In that 400 I am using for the training, so that I have used in the previous step itself. Now I am going to use this 100 data set particularly to check whether the developed model is correct or not. That's called as a validation. That's the final step of the development model, because we are going to check whether the model is going correct or not. See here you can understand. So this is the actual values of the from the experiments or collected database. This is the predicted value from the model. So if I'm giving some graph between all those things, it will come like this. So whatever the things coming near the central line, it is called as a good prediction, because input is equal to the actual thing is equal to the predicted thing. So if the value is deviated like this, if you can see, so this much of error is there in the prediction. Similarly, if you are having like this much of error is there in the prediction. For example, if I am considering this one, error is very much less. So in that sense, so many data sets from here to here are giving the good results, and these results are somewhat bad results. So on the whole, we can we can find out the R square value. Maybe 80 or 90 will come. So this is the 80% accuracy of the model. So this is the final analysis of the predicted model. So like this we can check. So here the R square value is 93. That means the developed model is 93% accurate. So similarly, in terms of R square, we can go for the root mean squared error also. So as I said in the previous thing here, the value is 93% accurate. That means the model can predict 93% of values. But I don't know whether the what type of errors are coming here. See, my value is 54 here, but the predicted value is 35. So this much difference is there. So this much difference, if I am saying, for example, in terms of concrete prediction, it is not correct. 19 is a huge error, for example. But at the same time, if I am predicting some traffic volume or something, 19 is not a big thing. So such kind of selection should be there in terms of all types of prediction. For example, concrete prediction means error analysis is very much important. In terms of traffic analysis, error prediction is not that much important. So now here I am going to demonstrate this AI application in terms of practical example. Now I am going to use the artificial intelligence techniques to predict the sorry, there is a mistake here. So I am going to predict the geopolymer concrete, strength of the geopolymer concrete. So this is the practical example. So I am going to apply the AI model or AI tool in this to predict the compressive strength of the geopolymer concrete. So as I said earlier, our first step is to identify the inputs and the outputs. See here, for example, the normal conventional concrete, there will be the cement, that means a binder, one fine aggregate will be there, and coarse aggregate will be there, and water will be there. So the output will be obviously the compressive strength I am going to take. So what are the inputs will come here is the content of the cement, like 300 kg per meter cube or 400 kg per meter cube, like that. And similarly fine aggregate, that means river sand content, for example, 700 kg per meter cube or 800 kg per meter cube, that is one of the input. Similarly coarse aggregate is one of the input and water content is one of the input. Apart from all those materials, curing days is also very important, because for conventional concrete definitely we are going to go for water curing only. So in that case 3 days water curing will not give me that much compressive strength, but 28 days will give definitely the compressive strength. So now if I am going to predict the compressive strength of the normal concrete, I can take these inputs for AI development. But in our case, I am going to predict the ternary blended geopolymer concrete. So ternary in the sense 3 binders will be there in the place of binder, in the place of cement, for example. Then I am going to use the geopolymer concrete. Now the materials for me is 3 type of binders will be there, like fly ash, GGBS and metacolin. And the river sand is a normal fine aggregate, and coarse aggregate will be there. Instead of water, there will be the chemical activators, as we have seen in the day 1 lecture of our series. So instead of water, there will be some chemical activators will be there. Now if I am analyzing the inputs for here, so these many inputs I should consider. So these many inputs I should consider. See, for the previous example, there are only 3 materials are available. So only 5 parameters I can consider as input. Now here in this case, I am going to consider the fly ash content, GGBS content, metacolin content. So these 3 are the binders. So these 3 are the binders, and these 3 are the fine aggregates. That means a filler. These 5 things are the liquid parameters. So instead of water, here I am going to take the alkaline activators and superplasticizers. So all those things will affect the compressive strength of the concrete. So I need to consider all those inputs. And here these are the curing regimes. That means for a normal geopolymer concrete, they won't go for the water curing. Instead they go for the ambient curing as well as the heat temperature. For example, after immediately casting the cubes, they will go for some oven exposure, like 80 degree or 60 degree for 1 hour or 2 hours. After that they will be just keeping in the normal ambient curing. So in the previous case I have considered only the one parameter for curing days, but here I need to consider 3. See here, when we listen carefully, all those parameters, if I change something, definitely it will change the compressive strength of the concrete. Fly ash content definitely will change, GGBS metacolin will change, river content, coarse aggregate will change. These are the activator content, definitely is going to change. One more thing, molarity of that sodium hydroxide. So we are having 8 moles, 10 moles, 12 moles, 16 moles and all. Compared to 8 moles, 16 moles will give the higher compressive strength. So this also definitely I need to consider. Suppose if I am not considering this input, means there will not be any difference for 8 molar and 16 molar solutions. So in that case it is very difficult for me. So I need to consider this input also. Similarly, superplasticity will be there, and how much temperature it is exploring, how much duration it is exploring, and how many curing days. So these are the inputs I am going to consider for my example. So these are the inputs, and compressive strength is obviously the output. So after finding out all the inputs and outputs, I need to collect the data. So I need to collect the data from research papers. So I am simply go to the Google Scholar and I will get some geopolymer concrete compressive strength. So here in this case, fly ash, GGBS, metakaolin, all the three combined will not be always available. Sometimes the researchers will use the fly ash as well as the GGBS. So metakaolin at the time it will be 0. Sometimes the fly ash and metakaolin will be used, GGBS at the time it will be 0. So like that I'm going to collect the data. So if I see some research papers, so for example, if I'm taking the paper number 1, I collected these mixed proportions from the paper, and of course the value of the compressive strength will I am also getting from those paper. So now here in this case, these things are the inputs, and this is the particular output. So in my case, through some literature review, I have totally collected 353 data sets. So as per the 70-30 ratio, I have taken 300 for the training and 50 for the testing or validation. So here in this case, 350 data is there. I have randomly picked up some 50 data from those 350 and I have taken for the validation. Here one more important thing is that when we are having the complete data set, when we are dividing into the training as well as the validation data set, it is always preferable to take the validation data set something away from the training, so that we can suppose if I am taking the training data set from 10 papers, so I need to validate from 2 different papers outside, so it will give the better prediction for the I can analyze whether the predictive model is working or not properly. So instead of randomly selecting, it is better to select 2 different papers compared to the 10 different paper. So from the literature review, I am very clear that ANN model is the best for the prediction. So I am going to consider the ANN model. So as per the literature, I know that this is the best ANN model, and I have seen that 3 different type of functions are there, and apart from that, this is the best one. So for the concrete, I am going to do the error analysis only. That is the best thing, and one layer of hidden layer is sufficient, and but I don't know this how many hidden neurons I should post inside. So I'm going to do the trial experiment, and the number of iterations and number of rotations I'm going to take 10,000. So this is the input for the model development. So now I have selected the model. That means I'm having the 13 inputs and the one output the compressive strength, and I have taken only one hidden layer. This is for example 8 neurons I'm taking. So I'm going to keep this database like the 300 database inside this model, and I'm going to run the model. So the model will try to create some mathematical relation between the input and the output. See, for example, based upon this hyperparameter, I'm going to train the model. So the model is running through the training database for 10,000 times. So while running, I'm getting the values here like R square values or error values like that. If the error values are somewhat good to me, I will stop the training process. If some error values are not good, for example, if I'm getting the error of about 50 MPa for predicting the compression strength, so obviously I'm not going to stop here. So what I'm going to do in this case now means again I have to change some parameters here. So this combination is not going to work for me. So I'm going to change this 8 number of hidden neurons to maybe 7 or 10 like that. So now again I'm going to run the model, and again I'm going to test the process, and again I'm going to test the values. Even in this case also it is not going to do means again I need to change. Suppose it is good means I can end the training process here. Now my model is trained up to the suitable level of accuracy. So now my trained model is nearly 90% accurate. I'm going to test with the validation. This is the validation data. See here, training data I have used the red mark, and validation data I have used the blue mark for just for reference. So now I'm going to put the validation data here, and I'm going to get the predicted results. Predicted results from the model. So one side I'll be having the predicted results, and another side I'm going to have the original values or experimental values. Now I'm going to check between these two values. So if the values are good enough means I'm going to end the process here. If the values are not good enough means again I need to go for the previous training process. So this is the sample example of the prediction. See here, um, this blue line indicates the experimental compressive strength. That means this is the original values, and if I'm using the ANN 8, See, for example, this is the blue color, AN and 24. So this is the original value, this is the predicted value. So this much error is there. So in that case, this is the original value. For example, if I'm getting the same input like this, means it is a good level of prediction. Similarly, here in this case, this is the graphical representation. So this is the predicted compressive strength and this is the actual compressive strength. So I can draw a perfect straight line here. So what are the errors near this line? What are the values predictions near this line? It is very accurate. So for example, this is the point near to the value, so this is more accurate. Suppose if I am getting some values here, means this much error is there. So such kind of analysis we can do. So this is the overall methodology I have followed. So starting from the literature collection, that means I have collected so many papers from the Google Scholars and all those things. So I have collected nearly 353 data. So 353 data, 300 data for the training and 50 data for the validation. So in this 300, it will the machine will take automatically for self training and self testing. So after that, I have developed some ANN model and also some SVM model. So through some various parameters like this, and I have found the best ANN model during the training. Then validation data set I have given here. See here, you can see the line. The validation data set is coming from here to here. So based upon this, I can whether the error is good or not, how much percentage accuracy is there, like that I can access, and finally it's going to end. So now I have explained the properties of the how to apply the AI tool in terms of the concrete compressive strength prediction. Now I'd like to give some 5 to 10 minutes break for you. So please get ready with the MATLAB software, what are the things you have registered so far, and in that case open one Excel sheet also. So now I'm going to practically demonstrate how I'm going to start the process of the prediction, so that how I'm going to collect the values, how I'm going to process through the MATLAB, and how I'm going to get the results. So this thing will be very much useful for your research in terms of UG project, PG project, as well as the PhD project also. See, one important thing is there is no prior knowledge of programming or something required for this. So MATLAB is very user friendly. If you understand the problems, we can follow very easily. So we'll be having the 5 minutes break. Please get ready with the MATLAB as well as the small Excel sheet or something, along with the Chat GPT. Thank you. So welcome back all the participants. So now we are going to do the AI prediction of the concrete. So I have selected here the geopolymer concrete, ternary blended geopolymer concrete with the 13 inputs. So this thing you are not going to do. You are going to do the general prediction. That's why I am going to tell now here. So the first thing, everybody please open some Excel sheet, blank Excel sheet or spreadsheet. So in my case, I'm going to have nearly 13 inputs. So I'm starting from fly ash, GGBS, metacolin, and these are the 13 inputs from my side. And similarly, this is the output, the compressive strength. So first thing, I need to collect the data from this 13 inputs and one output. So in this case, so how to collect the data is nothing but I need to go for the Google Chrome or Google Scholar. So there I am going to search something like ternary blended geopolymer concrete. So this is the data I am required. So I am searching something like a ternary blended geopolymer concrete. So see here, binary and ternary blends in fly ash based geopolymer concrete. So in my case, I am having 3 binders or 3 precursors like fly ash, GGBS, metacolin. Whatever is there is enough for me. If some concrete is made up of only fly ash, that's also fine. If concrete is made up of fly ash plus GGBS, it's also fine. All the 3 is also fine. Any of the 2 are also fine. So now I am going to segregate all the literatures based upon the based upon my requirement. See here, here they are using the binary as well the ternary blends in fly ash based concrete. So here if I open and see, I can see what are the materials available. So I can say whether this literature is suitable for my data prediction or not. So for example, I am opening this research paper for you. So it is not possible obviously here. So in this sense, I have collected nearly 350 data. So as of participants point of view, what I'm going to do is simply open an Excel sheet, um, simply type nearly input 1. So in this case, you can select the number of inputs of your own. For example, if you can take 5 to 6 inputs for your case, just drag it like this, and the third last one is output. So for a hands-on practice, you can use like this. So open a Google Sheets or something, the Excel sheet or something. So you can just simply drag 5 to 6 inputs of your own and take one output. This is just a normal output, not like a concrete or something. So the input one is, for example, cement content I am taking. Second input, fine aggregate. Third one, coarse aggregate. Fourth one, fiber content for fiber dosage, for example, whatever thing you can take. Fifth one, water content you can take, and the last one is curing days. So this is the example for you. So that means you can select 5 to 6 inputs of your own choice, and the output is the compressor strength. So in that case, you can select this. These are the input, and the output is the compressor strength, for example. See here, for normal concrete, the content of the cement will be varying from the 300 kg per meter cube to 450 or 500 kg per meter cube also. So just if you want to create a data set, just go to Excel sheet like this. Use this formula is equal to rand between 300 comma 5 550 like that. So if you put some formula like this, means you can the Excel sheet will give some random value between 300 to 500. So now you can drag this. So now here I am going to use the formula equal to rand between 300 to 500. In that case, that the cement content may be between 300 to 550 for all type of concrete. So I am going to use the random value here. So if you drag such values to number of inputs, whatever you want, for example, if you can drag up to 100 data sets for this example. So here these are the content of the cement. You can generate automatically like this. So again I'm telling, this is for the just for example, you are going to predict the compressive strength of concrete. We don't we can't take the database that much easily through the research papers. So that's why we are going to generate the database like this. Similarly, fine aggregate, the same formula I can use, equal to rand between. So fine aggregate content may be around from 600 to 1200, for example. So I'm going to say 600 to 1200. So some random value will come. See, for every time if I am doing something like this, means the values will change automatically. That's not the issue for us. Similarly, coarse aggregate also the same formula I can use, because the content will be around 600 to 1200 only, just for example case. Now the fiber percentage, it is not like 600 or 200. Fiber percentage maybe steel fiber, for example, they will be using some 0 to 3% for example. So 0 to 3 in the sense I can go for 0.1, 0.5 like that. So equal to rand between, that is random between 0.5 to 3. So it will give me some value like this. So I'm going to drag anyhow. Similarly, the water content for the cement may be around 40% of the cement or 50% of the cement. So I'm considering 300 to 500, 50% in the sense 150 to 250 may be possible. So here I'm going to use rand between 150 to 250. So this may be the water content. Similarly, curing days may be varying from 3, 7 up to 28. So 28 is the maximum. Least maybe you can consider as 3. So equal to rand between 3 to 28. So obviously we are not going to use 20 or 30 curing days, but in this case we can't do anything. So of course we are going to use 3, 7, 14 or 28 like that. So that will come here, but in our case it may be random between 3 to 20. So now if I'm selecting all those things, and I'm going to drag up to the 100 database. So my data set is over. See, for example, the cement content is 397 here, fine aggregate is 623, coarse aggregate is 706, 2% fiber I am going to use, water content is 223. So these are kg per meter cube. This is the percentage. Curing is a number of days. So days are taking is random automatically. So for this, the compressive strength may be around 20 to 60. So I am going to use the rand between 20 to 60. So this also I am going to drag like this. So I have taken the data sets now. This for practical example. So for the original thing, what we have to do is we have to go for some research papers. We have to get some mixed design values or mixed proportion values. Then we have to convert into a database like this. Then we can go for the training and validation, all those things. So now for our practical example, I have taken 6 inputs and output is the compressive strength. So these are the values of compressive strength. I can put one units also here. So cement content is kg per meter cube. So fine aggregate is also kg per meter cube. Coarse aggregate is also kg per meter cube. Fiber is a percentage. Water content is kg per meter cube. Curing is number of days, and compressive strength is MPa. Why I am putting this units particularly means this units values only we have to take as inputs. For example, cement content they'll be giving like a 1:2 ratio or something. So that thing we have to convert based upon the bulk density value, and we have to take only in this form of kg per meter cube. So these things should be taken kg per meter cube. This is the percentage of the fiber. So percentage value we can take. So this is the water value, this is the curing days value, and this is the compressive strength. So for your case, you can create a database like this. Now I have created 100 database here. If I randomly select 20 database, copy and paste it here, that will become my validation data set. So now I am having 100 data sets for training, then 20 data sets or something for the validation. Likewise, you can create the data set of your own. So for example, if I am telling the steps and you are noting down, maybe it is the possible chance of forgetting all those things. I am giving some time for the hands-on practice also. So please open the laptop and please do all those things. It's very simple steps you can do so that you can easily understand all those things. So now if I am changing one value here also, the value will be changing continuously. So what I am going to do, I am going to copy those values in the next sheet so that it will not change again. So simply copy, go to the next sheet, paste as values. Values means the value is not going to change for me further. Similarly, go to the previous slide, take these values, copy, go for the sheet 2. So this is the validation data set. Sorry. So here we are going to use the values like this. So now the values are not going to change. Now this is the training database of 100 and this is the validation data set of 20. 20 is there or not, I don't know, but maybe just randomly we can take. So now the first step is cleared. 2 steps are clear actually. So first step is in defining the inputs and outputs. Suppose you are predicting the fiber reinforced concrete. Obviously these 6 factors are the inputs and the output is the compressive strength. So you have generated a database like a training database and validation database. So in the real time practice we have to get the database from the literatures. Actually this step is a very important step and time consuming step because the database collection is very tedious in this. Once the data set is collected, after that you can go for the prediction very easily. I hope the participants have completed this step, like we are collecting the database. Not necessary to collect 100 or 20, just 50 or 10 also sufficient based upon the time point of view. So now the second step is completed. Now I need to go for the third step. Third step is nothing but I need to select a particular model, AA model. So AA model definitely, as per my research experience, ANN is the best tool for predicting the compressive strength of concrete because it is able to handle the complex problems. And of course the method of the thing is feed forward back propagation, LM method or something I am going to take. So now database is ready. Now I am going to go for the MATLAB to develop the predictive models. So as you can see the screen of the MATLAB, This is a very normal simple software. It is not like a very complicated software. It will be consisting of this menu bar in the top, and this is the folders, and this is the workspace, and this is the area for doing some kind of programming that are not required for us obviously here. So what I need to do first here is I need to convert this what are the data available in the Excel to the MATLAB here. So I'm having the data ready in the Excel here. I'm going to upload those data in the MATLAB here. So see, this portion also I'm not going to use frequently. Only the workspace I'm going to use, and here something will come that I'm going to use. So workspace here, right click here, go for the new Excel sheet like that. So it's like a spreadsheet inside the MATLAB. So I'm going to put the training data set here. So I'm going to entering it as a training data set. So if I'm double click like this means one Excel sheet will be open like this. So now I'm going to do this, copy this data set here. So this is for your example. I'm going to take my own data set for better understanding. So for me this is the training data set, and this is the validation data set. So this is 300 and this is 50 for example. So I'm going to copy all those values to my MATLAB now. Similarly, in your example, you can take those values that we have generated so far. So I'm having 303 data. I'm going to copy all those things in my MATLAB. So just simply copying and simply pasting here. Similarly, I'm going to create another file for testing the values. So testing, similarly I can open some spreadsheets will be opening. Again I'm going to the Excel, taking my validation data. So taking my validation values. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to put it here. See, for example, one thing I missed here. In the training data set, I have taken the inputs and I forgot to take the output here. So output also is necessary. So we can for ANN we can use as a separate file. So this is the testing. This is the I'm going to change it as training input. So similarly, I can create a new one, training output. So it will have only the output values. Now I can collect it from here. So simply copy all those values and put it in the MATLAB. So see here, I am having the training input. Similarly, I am having the training output. So database for training, only the inputs I have taken here, and the output I have taken here. Similarly, testing. So this is not required because this is the output. I am going to delete this, deleting the column. So now it will become testing input. Similarly, I am going to create another thing for the testing output. So validation data set. So this is the output for me. I'm going to copy and put it in the MATLAB. So I think participants have done all this process side by side along with me. See, first thing we have created some database using the Excel. So you'll be having data sets like this. So we'll be having 6 input and another one is output, and this is the validation data set, 6 input and 1 output. So open the MATLAB, create some Excel sheets in the workspace like this, and copy all those data. For ANN, we may need to separate the input as well as the output. For other things later, we are going to collaborate all those things. So now my testing input is ready, testing output is ready, training input is ready, training output is ready. See here, 50 into 13. That means I am having 50 data sets, 13 inputs are there. Similarly, 50 data sets and 1 output is there. Similarly, here 303 data sets with 13 inputs. So this is just for checking all those things. Now I am ready for the development of the predictive model. I have saved all those my data sets into the MATLAB. So this is a very important step. I am going to start with the NN start. That means neural network start. So NN start, I'm going to put in the command window and I'm going to enter it. So obviously MATLAB will take some little longer time to take all those things. See, NN start, I have started. The dialog box has been opened. See here, basically neural networks, there are four options are available. One is the input output fitting, pattern recognition, clustering, and time prediction. So in these four things, I like to go for time series prediction because it is going to predict some values through some modeling. So I'm going to select this fourth topic. So after selecting the NN start, go for the prediction. This is the fourth thing. So I have selected the fourth option, time series. So now I'm getting some neural network time series. So as I said, the MATLAB is not very complicated. It's very simple for us. If you understand and see all those things, it will be very easy for us. See here, we are having only one layer of menu bar. In that, all the things are disabled. Only this thing is opening. So what I'm going to do is I am going to select one by one so that automatically everything is going to come for me. See, select the first one. Select the network. In that, see three options are available. I think the participants can see the text or not. I can't understand. I'll just explain all those things. See, the first one is going to predict the output from the past values of the output. So it is going to predict the output from the past values of the output. That means like it is like a stock value prediction. So it is going to predict the values of the stock market from the previous data. So it is not in our case. So we are not going to bother all those things. Similarly, second one also like that, predicting the values of y from the past values of the y. This also not we are not going to consider. See the third one, we are going to predict the value of y from the another value of x. That means we are going to predict the output from the inputs. So this is the best thing for me. I am going to select the third option. Now if I selected the model, this thing is automatically coming. So now I am going to import what all the data is available in the MATLAB. I am going to import in the neural network form. So here I am going to import. So here I am going to import the data. That means first thing we have collected the data from the Excel to the MATLAB. Then this MATLAB has to be converted to the neural network thing. See here, I'm going to collect the data. Here it is asking whether the cell, array or matrix. So workspace we are normally dealing with the matrix only. So I'm going to select the matrix. See here it is coming like this. So we are going to select the data for training the network. So I'm going to use training input. Similarly, I'm going to use the response as the output. I'm going to use the training output. Now I have selected the training input and training output here. Now see here, 13 time steps with 303 features. That means it is saying that it is having 13 data sets for 303 inputs. That is obviously it is not correct for us. So I am going to change the option as rows. Now see here, 303 data sets for the 13 features. That means 303 data sets for 13 inputs, 303 data sets for one output. This is fine for me. So I am going to select the rows and go for the OK. So the second step is I am going to collect the data from the MATLAB to the neural network training. See the next third step here, training data is 70%, validation is 15%. Test means it is going to take automatically by itself. So obviously we know that 70% and 30% are good for us. So I'm going to leave it as it is. See the fourth one. This is the hidden neurons. So I'm having the one hidden neuron here. Automatically it is taking because of the good efficiency. So here I am going to take 10 as a default value. See here it is very important to know that if I am putting 10 here and I will check the values whether it's correct or not. If it is not correct means again I need to change the value. So this is the form of trial and error method. See here this fourth one is the form of trial and error method, and other things and all we are not going to change. It is a fixer for all those things. So first I am going to start with the 10. Then I am going to train the model. See here three options are available. So LM method is the most important thing as per the research point of view. So I'm going to start with this method only. See here also it's a trial and error method only. Among the three methods, which is the giving the best results, we can choose automatically. So now here I'm going to use the first option only. So the model is training for me. See you can see the model is training and the model training has been completed. See here, the training results have come here. It is showing the error of 92 and 81% accurate for training. Similarly, it is 41% for validation and the test. So overall, the accuracy may be around 50% only. It is not satisfactory for me. So what I am going to do is let me check for another input here. So LM is not giving me the proper answer. So I am going to go for the another method. So the second method is running. 1000 iterations are running. So I'm going to get the training results. So see here. Here in this method, the training value is 97% accurate, is somewhat better. Validation is not taking any value, so I can leave it as it is. Test value, that is 45 value, it has taken 50% accuracy. So overall accuracy I can consider this around 70%, which is somewhat better when compared to the previous one. Let me try for another method also, that scale gradient conjugate. So I'm going to run this method again. So this method also completed. Here also the overall accuracy is around 50 to 60%. So that means the first method is also 50%. Third method is also 50%, but somewhat second one is somewhat better. Now I am going to use that the second option only. Instead of that, here I am going to change the hidden neurons. So I am going to choose 9 here. So I am going to train with the second option only because it is giving the better answer. Again, my model is running for 1000 times, 1000 iterations. See here, now the accuracy is 96% for the training. Validation is not taking any values. It's good for me, no problem. And testing value it has taken nearly 78%. So overall my accuracy is around 80 to 85%, which is somewhat better when compared to the previous one. So again I will go for some another iteration like 8. Again I am going to train the value. Again my model is running here. So here I am getting 93 plus 48, around 60% of overall accuracy. This is not fine for me. So I am going to stop with 9. So 9 here, and second option is the best for me. So I am going to train it again. So this is the method of trial and error. So first a few things we can't change, like training data should be 70% only. Then we can import the data and select the network. All those things are fixed. But only thing we can variable is 3 functions are available: LM method, scale to conjugate method, and another one is Bayesian method. So 3 methods, which is the best thing it is giving, we can't understand properly because based upon the data set everything will change. So as of my trials, instead of 3 functions, the second one is the best one, and instead of 10, 9 and 8, 9 is the best one. I can go for more trials like 11, 12 also, based upon the complexity of the problem. Now as per the time constraint, I am going to consider as 9 is the best one, and I have trained the model. Now see, the model has trained properly. I am going to check the accuracy of the model in terms of other parameters. For example, I am going to check the error. So I can select the error graph here. So now the error graph will be coming here. See here, we can analyze this value here. This seems to be excellent for concrete prediction, as we know already that if I want to predict 50 MPa, if I am value is coming 52 or 48, it is very much fine for me. But if I am getting the results like 95 or something instead of 50, means the error is very much high. So in that case, my model is not performing very much good. But here you can see. Here the error value at the bottom is 2.147. So with the error of 2.147, nearly 200 data sets, total 300 data sets are there for training. In the 200 data sets showing the error of only 2, so which is very nice for me. And nearly around 50 data sets showing the error around 5. So in concrete compressive strength, 5 to 2 is also a good kind of prediction. So from this analysis, I can clearly say that my model is working very good in terms of the error analysis. See here, sometimes 54 also coming, but it's like 1 or 2 values. We don't need to bother much about that. Suppose if my error is spreaded like this, like so many lines are available in between, that means it is error are coming like a 5, 10, 15, 20 also. That such kind of things and all we can't accept it. So my model as per the error histogram is very much good. So I'm going to leave it as it is. So my trained model is very good now. I'm going to test the model. Test the model means I'm going to insert the validation data set now. So I'm pressing the value test here. So again it is going to ask the value. I'm going to use the matrix method only. So here I'm going to use the test input. So testing input as well as the testing output. See here also 13 steps to 50 this is not correct. I'm going to change the rows. Test the value. Now after the accuracy of the trained model, I'm going to insert my validation data set. So we have created already. Now the model is going to check me whether the validation data set is good or not. So test is completed. I'm going to click OK. So if I'm seeing the plot, it will be easy for me. Now see this thing. It is not like a previous thing in the training. It is showing all kind of errors. See here, the errors are like 2.29 is the least one. Only 4 instances are coming like this. See here 191.7 also coming. Around nearly 9 values are showing nearly 191. 191 is a very huge error as far as the concrete prediction is concerned. So my model is working good on the training, but my model is not good working on the validation. So that means this model is a failure model. I need to go for some other iterations. See, I like to show my PPT here. Whatever I have done so far, I will just explain with the help of PPT once again. So this is the thing. See, I have developed one model and trained the model. The model is good in terms of accuracy because it is showing the least error. Now, when I am inserting the validation data set here, I am going to predict the parameter. The error is very much huge. So it is saying that so the value here obtained is very much high in terms of error. So it is not satisfactory for me. So I need to go for the previous step here. So previous step here means I need to go again for the training model. So training model I need to change again the parameters and again I need to check. So this is the process of developing of the predictive model. So the model should work very good in terms of training parameters as well as it should work good on the validation parameters also. So this is the practical example of predicting the compressive strength of the concrete. Now one more small example I can tell here. So far we have developed the predictive model in terms of artificial neural networks only. Now I am going to select some other HVA models or RFM model, whatever terms I know that I am going to select. See, this time it is very interesting because I am going to integrate the chat GPT. Participants has to understand that without any programming knowledge, without any programming skills, we are just going to develop all those things. So ANN maybe requires some other tools like NN start or something. The other things we don't need any kind of programming language. Everything will be given by the chat GPT. So let it be. Now I am going to open the chat GPT from here. So the concept of ChatGPT here is I'm going to generate the programming language. That means like we are developing the C program for developing some C is equal to A plus B like that. For that we have to start from hash include std about address like that. Similarly, MATLAB is also having the coding languages. So I'm going to develop the code by the ChatGPT itself. I'm just simply going to copy that code into that MATLAB and I'm going to do my predictions. So I don't need any kind of programming skills and all. But the very important thing is we have to give the input properly to the ChatGPT. See here, listen it very carefully. So I'm going to feed what are the things that I need from the ChatGPT so that I can do for the better prediction. So I'm going to type like give me a MATLAB code to predict the compressive strength of concrete. So it is going to write the MATLAB code for me to predict the compressive strength of the concrete with 13 inputs. So I'm going to measure the inputs also because I'm in my example I'm having the 13 inputs and one output. So output is the compressive strength. So with 13 inputs I'm going to predict using support vector regression. So it is going to use the method of support vector regression, not ANN or something. If you don't mention the particular method, means it will take its own method. So it is not necessary for us. See, as of now here, I have mentioned that give me the MATLAB code to predict the compressive strength of the concrete with 13 inputs I am going to use, and I am going to say that I am having the separate database for the training and testing. So with separate database for training and testing. So as of now, I have given that to generate the MATLAB code for me to using the support vector machine. So it is going to predict the compressive strength of the concrete with 13 input parameters. So we are having the separate database for the training and testing. So if I click like this, means it will generate me the code automatically. So the very important thing is, apart from the MATLAB code it is generating, it will give some instructions for us. So we have to properly use that instructions, so that we will make the predictions very easy. So it is generating the MATLAB code for me. So MATLAB code is about to complete about a point of time. So these many programming languages we don't need to remember, we don't need to by heart anything. ChatGPT is there for us, so it is going to give automatically for us. So we are just simply going to copy that code and we are going to use it in the MATLAB. See here, let me zoom it for you. See, I have given the instructions to the ChatGPT. The ChatGPT has given the MATLAB code for me. So code has come, but instructions is given very clear for me. So I have to follow the instructions to make the predictions better. See here, we have to prepare the data. We have to save the training as well as the testing data sets in terms of file name like this or other compatible formats, ensuring that we have 14 columns with 13 inputs and 1 output. That means first thing it is saying that we should have the training as well as the testing data sets with the 14 columns. That means 13 columns for the input and 1 column for the output. So I should have 14 columns, 13 columns the input and another one is the output. So we have to use in terms of the TXT format. So text format is nothing but notepad or wordpad. So it is somewhat complicated in my experience point of view. So I am going to change it as a CSV files. Let me do it again. So I am going to tell the same thing to ChatGPT. I am going to have CSV files. So change the code accordingly. So previously it has interested me to go for the TXT file, but TXT file is not efficient for me. So I'm asking to change it to the CSV file. CSV file is nothing but somewhat a MATLAB related file. So I'm instructing the ChatGPT to change accordingly. So again it will generate me the code accordingly. See here it is very clear that updated MATLAB code for the CSV files. So it is generating the CSV file for me. Meanwhile, I'm going to follow the instructions set by the MATLAB. So MATLAB told that, ChatGPT told that I should have the database with 13 inputs and 1 output. That means everything should be there in the single database. But for a previous concern, we have used the inputs and outputs separately. Now I'm going to merge all those things. So again, new train data. So I'm going to copy from the Excel sheet. More than 5 to 10 minutes, it will be completed. So I have copied all the data. So I pasted here. Similarly, I should go for another data like test. So I'm going to copy all those things. See, the major important thing in this MATLAB is it will not accept values like this. So here I am saying that 1.2 into e power 3. So I am going to change it something like this 1293, 1393 like that. So it will be it will make it very easier. So here everything is like that only. So 1010. I'm just randomly putting some values. So it will accept only the numerical values, not like this mathematical expression. So same I'm going to do for the training database also. So my database is prepared already. So it is not showing any kind of errors, it seems. So here one. So this is one of the important things we should remember in MATLAB, because if the values are like this, means we won't get the proper results. So I'm going to change it like this. So now I have entered the training and testing data. I need to convert it to the CSV file. So what I'm going to do is CSV write. So I'm going to develop the CSV file like train data. So this is the formula we are going to follow. If it is not available, means we can take from ChatGPT itself. So CSV write, we are going to write the data by taking the train value. Train value means train value is here. So if I put enter, means that here you can see the train data is came already. Similarly, I am going to do for the same for the test data. Test data for CSV, and here test again. So now my CSV files are ready with train and input. Now I can copy the MATLAB code here. See any other instructions it is giving, I need to check again. So I have prepared the CSV files. I have modified the path name, train data and test data. It is taking as a default value. And another thing is that so it is taking the function linear polynomial RBF like that. If I'm not getting the proper answer, means I can change the functions also. It is giving like this. So I'm not going to change anyhow because of the time constraint. So I'm going to simply copy the MATLAB thing, and I'm going to put it here. Just simply paste it and enter. See here the values are came automatically. See, this is the prediction results. So obviously the prediction result is not good because it has to follow the path of the central line. But as I said earlier, it's a trial and error process. Um, it may be the linear function, so I need to change the Gaussian function or like that. So the instruction also clearly given by the ChatGPT. So once if I change the code accordingly, I can get the correct answer. So this is the process of trial and error. So as of now, the process is like this. Simply I'm going to copy the code from the MATLAB. I'm putting in the MATLAB by following the instructions properly. So my test and figure data, everything came. So if see here, the error of that model is around 12. 12 of the error model is somewhat better when for the compressed instant, and actually we have to restrict around 5 for the better results. So if I want to display the results also, we can do. If I don't remember those things also, I can ask the ChatGPT. So I am going to ask how to display the predicted results. So simply I'm asking like this. So it is giving me the script how to follow the thing. I think it's 2 or 3 lines of program only. There is some error in the ChatGPT because it is giving the full data here, but I don't require all those things because trained model is already completed. I'll just select the things what are the required for me to predict, show the predicted results. See here, some display results are coming, so I need to. So I'm going to select this thing only. So if I copied that same thing here, I can get the predicted results. So this is the actual values. This is the predicted value. See for 37 actual value, my model is giving 35. This is very good exactly. So for 53, it's giving 35 only. So some sort of huge error is there. Similarly, we need to analyze all those things by copying the same thing in the Excel sheet, and we can go for the further analysis. So due to time constraint, I'm not going to do all those things. So similarly, I'm going to. So I'm copying. This is the actual. This is the predicted value. So for the by simple chart, I can see whether the my values are good or not. Set in the chart and okay, fine. This is the separated thing. Okay, so I can't do it here right now. So this is the procedure here. This is the actual. This is the predicted. Once we get the values properly, we can go for the chart and we can complete it. So I think the procedure is completed here. So participants, if you are having any doubt, we can contact through message or now the session is open for question and answers. So further, if you are having any doubt in terms of doing the MATLAB and all those things, you can contact me through my mail ID. Any questions, you can ask me now. So I think question and answers are not available. So let me close the session. Thank you for this opportunity to meet all of you, and I hope you'll have be having some extra wonderful session on this. Thank you all. Thank you.